Ahead on our news tonight, Prime Minister Davis reassures Bahamians once again that the current high cost of living is his government's priority to fix. The much anticipated marijuana and naturalization legislations are set to hit cabinet this summer. And according to meteorologists, severe weather is on the way. This coming at the top of hurricane season, which starts today. Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. I'm Megan Shepard. As residents wrestle with a historic rise in inflation, Prime Minister Philip Davis says the high cost of living is priority to his government. The PM addressing the issue as he contributed to the budget debate in Parliament today. Jasmine Brown has more.
The Prime Minister expanding on what his administration is doing to soften the financial blow brought on by record high prices.
The necessities of life are too expensive for almost everyone. Food prices alone have gone up 20% since last year. The cost of everything keeps going up, but paychecks for those lucky enough to have work are not keeping pace.
In recent months, residents have complained about being hit hard by rising prices. Davis says his administration is doing what it can, including putting a little more money in the pockets of Bahamians.
The first priority of this budget was to put in place a package of measures to help Bahamians cope with inflation, including multiple reductions in import duties, funding to increase enforcement of price controls, an increase in the minimum wage in the public sector with incremental increases beginning next month, the establishment of a contributory pension plan for public officers, the reintroduction of RISE, a conditional cash transfer program.
Davis also pointing out that the government is reducing customs duties on nearly 36 food items.
The goal here is to include many of the most frequently consumed foods like eggs, chicken parts, flour, cheese, and corn, and to make healthier foods less expensive too, including broccoli, carrots, spinach, cucumber, beans, and cabbage.
The PM says the government has also included funding for new enforcement personnel at the Price Control Commission to ensure the savings are passed on to the consumer. The PM added that the government is making health care and home ownership more affordable and accessible, in addition to investing in agriculture to reduce the country's reliance on food imports. Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Thank you, Jasmine. Well, naturalization legislation and the legalization of marijuana set to go before cabinet this summer, according to Attorney General Ryan Pinder, who updated the media on upcoming legislation and amendments today. The government of the Bahamas is working feverishly on legislation for the Naturalization Act. This according to Attorney General Ryan Pinder. He says they're hoping to bring that before cabinet by the end of summer.
We have advanced it before the budget and before we had to shift to provide more focus on the bills that are being debated by the Prime Minister starting today. But I don't see it taking more than a couple months to actually finalize. We are looking at what was done before, but as you would know, that dealt with nationalization, that dealt with asylum, that dealt with the Department of Immigration in general. And so we're pulling it apart and then doing the reforms to that. So we do have a basis of the legislation in place. We're just pulling it apart from the master piece of legislation. So, within 2 or 3 months, we should be able to have that final before cabinet.
Now, a number of environmentalists have voiced concern regarding the Environmental Planning and Protection Act. Pinder says the Biological Resources Act was passed last year in haste, without proper consultation and without proper framework. To this end, he notes that he has received technical advice from environmental legal experts on an amendment to that piece of legislation.
the Department of Environmental Planning and Protection and the Attorney General's office are in meetings and consultation in real time presently in order to be able to bring amendments to that legislation forward to make it a little bit more user-friendly with respect to the researchers while still preserving the rights it's intended to preserve for the Bahamas. And so the challenge is that when it was put in place, there was not an adequate regime to have research only based and then research for commercialization, and that's really the concern, that any research for commercialization, the Bahamas should be a financial beneficiary of that because it is research being conducted in our waters with our natural resources.
Bahamians can also expect to see law reform as it relates to the legalization of marijuana. He says an external counsel has been working in partnership.
Our external counsel, who's been working with us on the legislation, is working hand in hand with law reform now. Since the budget exercise is now concluding with respect to the legislative events, that's back on stream. And they have specific recommendations on how we should address it, and law reform is in the process of amending the legislation that was in place to address those concerns. So that is back in process. There was a slight delay because of a shift in priorities, but we certainly, again, by the end of the summer, that legislation should be concluded.
With the 2022 hurricane season officially underway, Prime Minister Philip Davis spent a part of his budget debate contribution detailing just how devastating storms have been in recent years. The Prime Minister says the Bahamas has experienced billions of dollars in damage in under a decade.
Before Dorian in 2019, there was Irma in 2017. And before Irma, there was Matthew in 2016. And before Matthew, there's Joaquin in 2015. In the 7 years since Joaquin, our country has suffered more than $4.2 billion in damages and losses. $4.2 billion in just 7 years.
Monster storm Dorian was by far the most destructive hurricane. The Category 5 storm decimated portions of Abaco and Grand Bahama in September 2019. The Inter-American Development Bank estimated the total cost of the impact and effects of Dorian was $3.4 billion. Today, Davis said his administration has decided to renew the Caribbean Catastrophic Risk Insurance Facility, which covers tropical cyclones, excess rainfall, earthquakes, and fisheries. The Bahamas benefited from a payment of US $12.8 million from the facility following Hurricane Dorian.
We've also agreed yesterday to renew the insurance with CRIF, subject to their coming to reassess the basis upon which they had some assumptions that they are now satisfied may be in error. And we hope to have a more reasonable response to risks and triggers for claims.
While a wet welcome to the 2022 Atlantic hurricane season, the Northwest and Central Bahamas are expected to experience intense inclement weather this long holiday weekend, possibly impacting plans for Labor Day parades on New Providence and Grand Bahama. According to a special weather statement issued by the Department of Meteorology, forecasters are keeping an eye on an area of disturbed weather near the Yucatan Peninsula that may develop into a tropical depression by the weekend. If that happens, you can expect a tropical storm watch to be issued. What does that mean for preparation? Well, our news took to the streets to find out how some of you are preparing for this hurricane season.
I would stock up on water. I have an infant, so baby formula, the utilities part of it, lights and so forth, canned goods, things that's simple. I don't try to be extravagant at a time like this because with everything being so expensive, your money has to stretch.
Make sure that I have everything that I need to around the house. Make sure everything is everything that needs to be taken away that cause hazards is removed and put in its proper place.
I haven't given much thought, it wouldn't be nothing much, because I got a little small family, not that huge, so I'm sure it'll be something that I'm sure me and my family will be able to survive by Jehovah God's will.
Let's continue the conversation online. Head to Our News Bahamas on Facebook and let us know how prepared you are for the hurricane season. On the first day of hurricane season, forecasters are predicting between 14 and 21 named storms, 6 to 10 hurricanes, and 3 to 6 major hurricanes. The tropics are getting busy. We are now monitoring 2 areas, one just north of the Bahamas and the other, the remnants of Agatha in the Northwest Caribbean, which has the potential to affect us on the weekend. Greg is standing by in the Weather Center with details. Greg?
Yeah, that's right, Megan. The tropics getting busy as we speak. We are monitoring 2 areas that show some potential for formation. One just to the north of the Bahamas. That's an upper level low that's interacting with the surface trough. We'll talk about that in a short while and show you that on our satellite picture. And of course, we are still tracking the remnants of Agatha. That's down in the Southwest Caribbean. But we get to some numbers right now. Today officially begins the Atlantic 2020 hurricane season. And these are the numbers. 30-year average, 14 and 7. 14 named storms, total storms. Hurricane 7, category 3. Or higher, 3, and of Colorado State, they put out some numbers there. 19 named storms, 9 hurricanes, and 4 of those major hurricanes. And of course, NOAA got their numbers out. 14 to 21 named storms, 6 to 10 of those hurricanes, and 3 to 6 major hurricanes. So we're expecting an above average season, and we are getting you guys prepared for the Atlantic hurricane season as we are, as I mentioned, watching 2 systems out there. Alex, these are the name, Atlantic Basin. If that system down the Southwest Caribbean does form, which was Agatha in the Eastern Pacific, the name will be given Alex, and it has a high chance for formation over the next couple of days. So we're going to continue to watch that one very closely as it's going to be in our neck of the woods by the weekend. And these are the rest of the names all the way down to Walter. And if we do get to Walter, we go back to another list of names that starts with the letter A. On our graphics, well, Saturday, Sunday night, of course, a lot of moisture still being pumped across the area, and we're continuing to watch some increasing showers and thunderstorms across the northwest and central Bahamas right now as that upper level low and that surface trough is interacting and generating some showers. But by Friday, Saturday, we're looking for frequent downpours, some flash flooding, gusty thunderstorms, rough surf, and of course, water spouts, possibly some tornadic activity. And we have 2 scenarios with this system. One, it's going to cross central Florida. That will keep us, well, most of the northern Bahamas, mainly in that moisture plume. And the second scenario, it will come across western Cuba and move into the Bahamas. That spells a little more damage for us because we do expect some significant rainfall out of the system if it does take that path. 3 to 6 inches and possibly even up to 8 to 10 inches in some isolated spots. This is the satellite imagery of that system down in the Southwest Caribbean, Agatha. Basically getting its act together right now. High chance up to 70 to 80% for formation over the next couple of days as it approaches Cuba and our area. And that system that I was talking about just to the north of the Bahamas, that's an upper level low that's interacting with that surface trough. We got some drier air across the northwest Bahamas behind that upper level low, so we didn't see much in terms of any showers. But this moisture plume will continue with us for the next couple of days. And of course, this is the official start of the hurricane season, and we're asking you to get your hurricane plans together if you haven't done that already.
Thank you so much, Greg. And still to come, the Attorney General speaks to millions of dollars owed in judgments. That's coming up when our news returns.
Got size at 6'5". Hi, this is Shamika.
The Attorney General noting the government owed some $17.7 million in aged arrears to Bahamians and the private sector. AG Ryan Pinder says he is grateful to the Ministry of Finance for assisting his ministry to address the vexing issue.
With our budget allocation for that completely extinguished already, the Ministry of Finance has worked with us in reallocating funds, so that total now is down to about $12.2 million, which would include judgments over that course of time as well. So we want to thank them for that. You will note in last week when bills were tabled and in the communication by the Prime Minister on the budget, he alluded that there's a supplemental budget involved in this exercise as well.
Pinder explains the intent of the supplementary budget.
And that supplemental budget is required with respect to the various financial laws that are in place, the Debt Management Act and the Public Finances Act and the like. And that supplemental budget is intended to reallocate funds from this fiscal year to pay certain arrears that we met in place. He would have mentioned water and sewage, for example, as being one of that. Well, legal settlements is one of that. So we fully anticipate that for the first time in probably decades, maybe since an independent Bahamas, private settlements will be extinguished going into the new fiscal year.
Now, the Attorney General was also asked for an update as it relates to the matter of Carnival Cruise Lines dumping sewage and food waste in Bahamian waters back in 2017. In March, the Minister of Transport, JoBeth Colby Davis, noted the Department of Environmental Planning and Protection and the Office of the Attorney General would determine penalties. Well, according to Pinder, DEP is still doing an analysis of the damage and possible fines.
Needless to say, the Bahamas is committed to enforcing the laws that are on the books, especially when it comes to environmental matters, and we're not going to tolerate the pollution, the overt pollution of our waters with respect to cruise ships. We're waiting on the technical advice. Needless to say, if that technical advice demonstrates that Carnival is liable for penalties, penalties will be put in place. We are committed to enforcing the laws of the Bahamas, and especially with respect to environmental matters.
When our news comes back from the break, the Bahamas' Special Olympics soccer team receives a much-needed donation.
Plus, coming up in sports for you tonight, the UB Mingo's Kendrick Thompson with another national record. We'll give you details on that. We'll also tell you all about what's going on with Jonquel Jones in the Connecticut Sun. That's just ahead in sports.
Stay tuned for those details right after the break.
Got size at 6'5". Hi, this is Shamika.
Welcome back. The Bahamas Special Olympics soccer team has its eye on the goal, receiving an equipment donation that's sure to make a big impact on their upcoming games. Area Coordinator for Special Olympics in Grand Bahama, Cheryl Hurst, and the Special Olympics soccer team coach, Mark Hardy, thankful for the recent donation of soccer boots for the 10-member team.
We are delighted. I'm speaking on behalf of the athletes because most times they just play in their tennis. We are very pleased with Playtime for generously donating the cleats.
It's something the boys need, and the boys and girls need for the team. It make them look the part, and as we often say, if you look the part, you look good, then that helps in playing. So we're really, really appreciative.
The team will compete in the North American Special Olympics from June 3rd through the 13th in Orlando. The World Games are set for next year in Berlin, Germany. General Manager of Playtime Sports, Ghassan Haddad, says he wants the team members to look and feel good when they get on the field. LeVar Lang accepted the donation on behalf of the team.
When Mark came and approached me, and I went and ordered these Adidas Predator boots for them, I want them to have something nice. Although it's a donation, but I like to donate something nice, nothing like, underpriced or whatever. So we brought them these boots.
On behalf of Special Olympics Soccer, we would like to give you a big thank you for your donation and your kindness. Thank you.
You're welcome, man. God bless you all.
We wish the Bahamas Special Olympic team the best of luck. Mingo's Kendrick Thompson with a new national record. Meanwhile, a rough night for Jonquel Jones in Vegas. Here's our Marcellus Hall with the details.
All right, thanks and welcome to our sports, everybody. I'm Marcellus Hall. Well, the UB Mingos, their track program has been doing some good things as of late. Most recently, Kendrick Thompson trying to qualify for the World Championships in the heptathlon. Let's see if he got it done. Let's take a quick look at his performance.
University of the Bahamas multi-event specialist Kendrick Thompson breaking the national record in the decathlon at the Jacksonville Athletics Club Jacksonville combined event, qualifying on Monday after amassing 7,788 points over the two-day 10-discipline event. Thompson had held on the old record set back in April of this year at the Miami Hurricane Invitational with 7,762 points, won every single event at this competition in Jacksonville, adding 26 points on the record. He was attempting to qualify for the IAAF World Outdoor Championships, which will take place in Eugene, Oregon, later on in July. To qualify, Thompson has to hit a total of 8,350 points to be an automatic qualifier or be in the top 24 in the world by virtue of IAAF points. So far, he's fallen a little bit short of that, but he remains hopeful that he will be able to get it done.
Well, I'm really happy with it. My coach really happy. We've really been working on going for the 8,000, but we fall short in 2 events. And I think after coming back from injury, I think we really performed well.
Meanwhile, Jonquel Jones and her Connecticut son back in action last night. Jones and the son at home for this one. Actually on the road as they take on the Las Vegas Aces. Connecticut, unfortunately, they go down 89-81. Aces remain first in the Western Conference at 9-1. They've only lost one so far in the season. Connecticut, meanwhile, they fall back to second at 6-3 in the Eastern Conference. Looking at Jonquel's numbers, she continues to get off to a bit of a slow start. Played 30 minutes, had just 8 points. She did have 13 rebounds and 1 assist.
And that's your look at sports here on this Wednesday. I'm Marcellus Hall. Back to you, Megan.
Thanks, Marcellus. Well, bad weather is on the way. Our Greg Thompson is waiting in the wings with a second look at weather.
Got size at 6'5". Hi, this is Salute.
Welcome back to our news. And here's our Greg Thompson, who is standing by with the extended forecast. Greg?
Thanks again, Megan, and welcome back, everybody, for our second look at weather. Here's a look now at your national forecast. In your extended forecast for the next 7 days, of course, tomorrow we may have a little reprieve for some shower activity across our area as well. But by Friday, Saturday, into possibly even Sunday, a lot of moisture associated with that system pushing across the area, possibly, as I mentioned, making it to a tropical depression or tropical storm status. So continue to monitor the system as it pushes towards the north. We'll keep you abreast. That's a look at our weather. Back to you, Megan.
Thank you so much for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Megan Shepard. We'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Until then, have a wonderful evening.